Hello everyone, you're watching Newcastle United 11 Times YouTube channel. My name is Rob, and on today's show I'm joined by Paul, Len, Alan and Owen, and we're here to discuss Newcastle's brilliant away result where at Nottingham Forest last night, where they ran out 3-2 winners. Now, before we start, last night's game for me, I think it highlighted our strengths and our weaknesses. We're shipping too many goals of late, but I'll let you guys dissect all that. I was surprised to see Anthony Gordon start as well. I don't know how you guys felt, but I'm sure that'll come up in the chat. Right, I want to start with you, Owen. Although you want the match, I'll give you time just to gather your thoughts. Paul, we'll start with you. What was your take on the game last night?
I knew you'd start with me there. Right, anyhow, all right, boys. No, yes. I'm with you. When I seen Gordon getting off the bus, that's why I put on that I thought he would have been sub. And when he started, I know he trained Thursday, Friday, but I thought it would have been a bit of a risk starting him. Obviously, I think he wanted him ahead of Dan Burn, didn't he? Didn't really trust Barnes to start him off in front of Burn the way he's been playing at the minute. He wanted someone with high energy, I think. So when the game started, I think the first 15, 20 minutes, I thought were excellent. I thought we got the goal, we controlled it. Obviously, they had a couple of breaks. They looked a bit lively on the break. But the first goal was a great training ground move, on who he dedicated to Mad Dog for the set piece, didn't he? Great cross from Trippier, and Bruno just pretending to do nothing, and then he drifted in at the back post, and I thought it was a great finish with the laces. Then we had a control of the game, and then they got that breakaway. I think it was sloppy again. One little ball through for Gibbs White. Burn didn't see the run quick enough. You can't just blame Burn, of course, because there was 2 or 3 midfielders got sucked in on the ball. Mickey missed it. Gibbs White, what he does brilliantly, he just goes into that little position, doesn't he, and threads a little ball through, and there's not many people going to catch a Langer. But I don't know what Dubravka was doing on that goal either. If you look at his starting position, he was on the edge of the box, and I think the ball got played quick and he didn't have time to get back. I thought he made his mind up for a Langer pretty easy, the keeper there, to be honest. Then we got the second goal. I thought was well worked. Botman flick on. Great finish from Shaw again. He's getting a few goals lately, isn't he, Fabian Shaw? Like. And then they came back into it again. That goal just before half time, a bit fortuitous, I thought, with a deflection off Miley. And then the start the second half, I think when we got the goal, it was like against the run of play, wasn't it? We weren't playing particularly well. But Bruno just took it upon himself to anticipate where he was going to play it. Got the ball and slid it right in the corner. He had a fantastic game, Bruno. I thought he was back to his best again last night.
Yeah.
So all in all, I think it was a great result. More than the performance, I still don't think we played that well.
Yeah.
Like I say, I think it's at the minute it's just when teams attack, it looks like we're going to concede it now on every opportunity. But luckily we've got a few goals in the tank as well, haven't we? And that midfield for me still doesn't look right. It's still like the combination. I know we're missing Joe Linton, but I'd be tempted soon to give Miley a rest. I mean, even when we went to 5 at the back and got the 2 in midfield, Longstaff and Bruno will look quite compact, didn't when we had control of the ball. I think you have control of the ball more when you're playing with 5. So I think it could be time to take young Miley out, especially with Willock and Anderson coming back. But I think all in all, a fantastic result. Performance not so good, but things to work on. But we'll get a few players back now, and we need to go on a run to get European slots. But, win at the City Ground, you can't really grumble.
No. 3 points away from home, 3 points. I think you hit it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I thought the performance wasn't particularly... The first 15, 20 minutes were excellent. And then, like I said, for me, we showed our vulnerabilities and our strengths. And it was just, we need to kind of eradicate those vulnerabilities because they're, we're leaking goals, silly goals, really, that we're conceding of late, silly goals. But there you go. Owen, what was your take on the game? Len, what was your take on the game?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Similar to the Luton game last week. Just really good game. I enjoyed it, particularly the first half. I mean, you both hit the nail on the head there, where I think saying that every time a team attacks us, they attack us down one side, and we look like we're going to concede a goal. And Paul, I think you're probably right. I think Dan Burn wasn't at fault totally. I personally, and I'll hold my hands up, I would have took him off at half time, and I'm going to say it now because I felt that if he stayed on the pitch for the full match, I could see him making one or two other mistakes. And the cover, as we've discussed previous podcasts, the cover's not there, so he is vulnerable. He's being targeted massively. Tried his best, as you said earlier. Botman was probably partially to blame for one of the goals. Dubravka for another one. So I was surprised to see Dan Burn start. I think I said last week that I didn't expect him to start, and he did. So I think defensively, again, as a unit, wasn't brilliant. The midfield, I think, Paul, I would maybe disagree. I thought it looked a little bit better yesterday. I think obviously Bruno.
Don't think we're too open line in the middle. I think Miley tires a lot, doesn't he, as well, and towards the hour mark.
Yeah, but I think whatever, they did make a couple of tweaks there, because I think Bruno mentioned afterwards on the interview on Sky that he obviously played a slightly more advanced role, and that first goal was absolutely outstanding. The second one was good as well, but that first one with the outside of his foot was just class, because it's probably quite hard to do that. And you know, I don't know what's happened since Christmas. 7 games since Christmas, and we've seen 33 goals, and 14 of them have been goals we've conceded. Luckily, as you know, as quite obvious, we're scoring more goals. It's a bit like the entertainers all over again, really, isn't it? You know, we'll score one more than you, and luckily we've been able to do that. I think the second half, whilst it wasn't a great performance, I think we were much better with the game management, in that we saw the game out. So at 3-2, we're set up in such a way that we weren't probably going to concede another goal, and we're going to secure the 3 points. So I think that was better than what it has been previously. And as you've said, a very important 3 points, more important than the performance itself. And 2 wins and a draw, I think, in the last 3 games is a good return. So all in all, the table looks a lot more positive. When we got up this morning, it looks like we can challenge at the top end rather than disappear into mid-table oblivion. So 3 points, and with a home game coming up on Saturday, happy days.
Well done. Excellent then. Owen, you were at the match yesterday. You can give a first-hand account. How did you see it?
I was at the match, and I'm probably not the best person to give a performance assessment of it, because we had a good skinful before I got there. So, but I have watched that, and I do remember some of the game. I missed toilet, so I missed that one, but I did see the winner, which was excellent. But no, I don't think there's much more I can add in terms of what Anders and Len have said. I mean, the only thing I can add is that I don't know about you, but what I did think was a little bit different yesterday was Trippier almost filling in midfield sometimes. Like, he was coming inside an awful lot.
Coming in the middle for the ball when we had the ball. Yeah, he was coming in the center.
I must admit, Owen, that's a good point, Owen, because increasingly I saw that people have been talking about that for a while, how Trippier sort of is going forward, and then you then have 3 centre halves, don't you? Which is why Burn's getting picked. But I saw that, quite clearly yesterday. That was the case.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's the first time I've noticed it. I must admit, it's almost like what Trent does for Liverpool, doesn't he? Alexander Arnold, like he does that, doesn't he? He's where it's almost like a fourth midfielder. But I mean, I know Alan's desperate to talk about Dan Burn and telling his body language when we bring him up. But I didn't think he'd done too bad yesterday. I thought that you could argue positionally, but I don't think for the second goal, for the first goal, and they equalised 1-1. I don't think anyone's catching. I think Paul's already touched on it. He's alluded to the fact that Alanga's quick, and I don't think anyone's sort of catching him. And let's be honest, sometimes like people talk about positional sense and stuff like that, but you've got to take your hat off to a good pass sometimes. And I thought that was an excellent pass.
You've got to stop the pass, haven't you? That's the thing. Gibbs White does that a lot, and 3 of them went on, and then nobody covered him.
They did. I would argue Botman. Actually, Dan Burn was probably more at fault positionally for the chance that Dubravka saved when he was 1-on-1. I can kind of get, because he was a little bit square. He wasn't sat on, and for the second goal, I just think the ball was played into the midfield again. Bruno and Miley were taken out by one simple 5-yard pass, and that allowed them to sort of make that pass, which put them in to get the goal. But the thing, I said this on the bus on the way back to the lads, like, obviously you were over the moon that we'd won, but isn't it great that we're not playing well but we're winning games? Like, that's Fulham, where I think that we were particularly good.
No, Fulham weren't. No.
But we've done the job, and yesterday we've done the job as well. I think we deserved to win yesterday. I didn't think we definitely didn't deserve to get beat.
Yeah.
So I over the moon. I think you're right, Sanders. Bruno was head and shoulders above anyone else on the pitch. He was fantastic yesterday. You know, obviously scored the 2 goals, and he's the heartbeat of the team, isn't he? When he plays well, Newcastle, I know I've said it 100 times, but when he's on his game, Newcastle excellent. Just going back to Dan Burn, because I know Alan's desperate to come in and have his say on him. Sorry, but let's not forget, Kieran Trippier has made more mistakes this season than Dan Burn. You know, and I know Dan Burn offers an awful lot more to the team offensively. Definitely did. So I'm just conscious that sometimes Newcastle fans will have a history of trying to make someone a bit of a scapegoat when the problem might not be as bad as we think. Yes, I agree with Alan and the fact that Livramento deserves to play. And people should be fighting for the places and stuff like that. But like I said, overall, I thought Burn was good yesterday. I think the whole back four were it.
I think Miggy gets it as well, doesn't he? He gets a bit of stick, Miggy, whenever we're.
He was poor yesterday, Miggy.
He's anonymous.
He was poor yesterday.
He was quiet.
Yeah. Is that it? Owen?
Yeah. I'm seeing Alan's nearly jumping through the screen, isn't he? He's done.
Okay, excellent. Right, fasten your seatbelt, guns. Step forward, Alan. What was your take on the game yesterday, Alan?
We played our read. Looking at the stats here, we had most of the possession.
Not like you, Alan.
We had most of the possession of the game in 63%, and we had way more passes.
Possession doesn't win you games.
Passes, and them had 365 passes, and our passing accuracy was actually 87%. So with the ball, we've done well. Also had more shots on target. Even though I had more shots, we were more clinical. So I think we've done a solid performance. Not a great performance by any means. I do agree with Paul, but I also agree with Paul with the Miley situation. He's a young lad. He's learning his craft. He's going to make mistakes. He's only 17. And if he would have less game time, ease him in a little bit better if we had the cover. And Bruno, great. And I've noticed he plays better when he hasn't got his hair bleached.
No.
So, so some of them down like that.
That's an observation, Alan.
And Shaw's finishing. Stick him up front. He's great.
I thought Wilson was poor, like on another thing.
Wilson was very missing in action again. I think he was very anomalous again. And I was quite disappointed in that. And I'm thinking, well, someone messaged on the chat and I said, "Oh, is Wilson on?" Because I didn't really notice him much. So solid performance. 3 points in the bag, and we're moving on to the next game.
Hey, there's no mention.
Did you not mention Dan Burn?
Why the hell shall I waste my breath when you play a left centre back at left back, and you waste £30 million on a young talent and sit him on the bench? That's all I've got to say about that.
Well, Alan, we did play him there last season, and we got in the Champions League.
One off. He's so new, man. You got to stick pace there, man, all the time. Bailey. That kid yesterday, they just took the piss out of him, man.
I don't know what you lads think, but would you go to a 5 at the back in certain away games? Because we did look like we had a lot of control.
No. We played better at a 5.
No. In certain games, you wouldn't go to a 5.
You want to shut up shop?
Not for me, like.
No, shut up shop. He's done it the last few games where.
No, but it's not just a shut up shop thing. A 5 at the back.
He's done it better. He brought Livramento on, but also because he couldn't cope with Bailey, because Bailey's got a bit of pace about him now.
There's nothing wrong. I think what they did yesterday, and I think sort of compromise. You're still starting with your back 4 in every game. You look after your own team, regardless of the opposition. You can tinker with it a little bit, but then as the game wears on, like yesterday, you can then bring an extra defender on if you need to. But I'd still always stick with the back 4.
But it's not always a defender. Then you can play attacking with a 5.
Oh
yeah, that would stop teams who have got fast wingers straight away.
Well, yeah, you could play with 3 at the back effectively and 2 wing backs. Yeah.
But like I say, that'd be more where you want to see the game out like you done last night. You wanted to see that game. That's and he's done it against Villa as well. So.
What about actually just a quick whilst I remember the penalty incident? I have to say I agree with Alan Shearer. I think it probably was a penalty. I don't know what everybody else
I thought he kicked his arm. I thought he leant into his he kicked his arm.
I think it was the final touch off the keeper, wasn't it?
He was already falling, Len, wasn't he? That was the problem. It's not like he sort of clipped him. He sort
I
of
think we're lucky. We're definitely lucky.
I think we're lucky because I think had that Shearer said it, so I didn't want to copy what he said, but I will. If it had been the other way around, we would have been gutted. We hadn't got a penalty because although it was a borderline decision, you would have expected to have got that decision. I think.
Okay. Len, can you touch up on the Shaw record, please? Because you've got the
there's a Paul and Owen just before you came on. We're just having a chat prior to coming on this today. I had the statistics. We've been talking for the last couple of weeks about the highest goal scorer, centre half or defender anyway, whichever way we look at it. Now, I was confidently coming on here today to say that Fabian Shaw is now equal leading goal scorer with Jamal Lascelles and Stephen Taylor. That, and then Nikos Dabazaz with 11. So they've got Shaw, Lascelles, and Taylor all with 13 goals, but that's in all competitions, not Premier League. So there might be a couple of cup goals in there, and whatever. And then you've got Robbie Elliott with 11 and Stevie Watson with 12, but obviously they were full-backs. So does anybody disagree with that? Or we're going to say Fabian Shaw is now joint top goal scorer after that fantastic goal yesterday?
Is that with Stephen Vincent Taylor, yeah?
That's Stephen Vincent Taylor, yes. The very one.
The very one.
Yeah. Right, chaps, I think is that us done with the
I must say again, I thought the commentary was so biased as well. It's getting borderline ridiculous every week listening to these jokers go on about it. I thought they were terrible. Yeah. Hinchcliffe didn't have a clue.
Right, before we move on for the review of Saturday's game, time for a bit fun in games now. So I'm going to pull a few players up. Their face is masked and you have to guess who the player is. Okay? So what we'll do is everyone have a look at it and I'll go around the floor and then everyone tell us who they think it is. Okay? So the first one is... Who is that? Just keep it to yourselves and I'll come on the floor. I'll take your first answer and first answer only though.
Okay.
Everyone got a name?
Yeah. I haven't yet. Hang on.
I think I have. I might.
Slightly harder this week. Slightly. But certainly guessable. I mean, all three of them, definitely.
I'm sticking with it.
I'm not convinced, like.
Right, Alan, we'll start with you. Who do you think it is?
John Dahl Thomason.
Okay. I'm not saying where you're right or wrong just yet. Len, who do you think it is?
Well, I'm way out here. I was going to just cheat and just copy his answer because I think his is better answer than mine. But it's definitely not Keith Gillespie, but I'll go Keith Gillespie, but it's not. It's just because Keith Gillespie, it's not his legs.
Not his run either.
Okay.
Well, I know. It's his shirt, though.
I was going to say Thomas. I could be Andreas Anderson.
Oh, yeah, we can.
Okay. When you see who it is, you'll kick yourself. But Owen?
I think it's Stefan Givosh.
Friggin' what?
Well, I'm going to put you out your misery, guys. Some fantastic answers in there, but you ready? Philip Albert. I thought you would have got that, Alan, but right, we'll move on to the next one. Same again, okay? Right.
Do you know what put us off that one?
Yeah, he's just impressed his head on that
put us off.
Who is that? To be honest with you, it is a bit tricky, but would do you think that is? Everyone got a name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alan?
Why is it me first every time? Right.
Because I'm
Steve Howie.
Steve Howie. Okay. Len?
Just had a guess.
Well, I'm going to go John Dahl Thomason on this one.
Len, Dylan.
Okay. Paul?
I was going to say Paul Robinson.
Owen?
I think that would be neighbours.
Maybe a bit big for him.
I'm going to go Steve Watson.
It could be Watson.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Steve Watson. Hold on. Press the wrong button.
That was Alan Howe.
Well done, Owen. Steve Watson.
It was the ginger hairs on the arm.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. We'll move on to the next one. Yes. Someone will get this. I think someone will get this.
It's easy, that.
Who was that?
Right.
That's easy.
Everyone got a name?
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul?
Well, I was... Actually, I might... I said it was easy, but...
It's easy, but now you're going to change your mind.
No, because someone else has just come into me. It was either Ben Arthur or Jonas Gutierrez, so I'm going to go for I'm going Ben Arthur.
Okay. Then?
I'll go Gutierrez.
Owen?
Johan Kabay.
I thought that as well.
It could be Kabay.
Johnny, it can't be Les Fernand, can it? No,
Controversial.
See, you've knocked us new because I'm going to go for the first one and I'm going Ben Arthur.
Okay.
But it's probably
I've got to
Jonas.
say,
It's probably Jonas.
Congratulations to Owen. Got it again.
Oh, well done, Owen.
Do you know what it is? I was going to say Ben Arthur, then I seen the number 4 in his shorts.
Oh, well.
I'm not looking for these clues. I'm not looking for the clues.
What?
Well, you didn't get it, Alan.
You covered the number.
Well, you didn't get it on the back
Same
of
clue
that.
for
I
everyone.
didn't know it was number 4, did I?
There's always a clue in the picture, Alan. There's always a clue. Whether it be ginger hairs on the arms, number 4 on the shirt, on the shorts, there's always a clue.
6'7" playing left back. I need butter.
What's that got to do with it?
Absolutely nothing to do with it.
He's getting into this, man. He's getting into this. You
Right, so,
all got a message doing Forest. Owen was for none or Dan Burn starting, lads. Alan's just messaged us.
So we've got Bournemouth at St James's Park on Saturday with a 3 o'clock kickoff. I think it's probably a game that would be expected to win. Would you start Dan Burn? I'm not picking on Dan Burn, by the way, because I think he does a lot of exceptional work.
I think he would, if he was going to drop him, he would have dropped him this week.
Yeah,
He's not going to drop him next week, is he?
I don't think he will, because he
No, he
offers you
won't.
other. He offers you a lot of other things. You know, I don't think he will. Well, he's good at set pieces.
Actually, that's
Got an aerial threat.
our third goal. He was
He gets tackles. He gets tackles in the box, Alan.
He's a taunter, isn't he? He's a taunter.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Who plays on the
Go on.
plans for Bournemouth? Anyone know?
Yeah, but
Is that Clive? He's got Clive. He's quite nippy. Is it Senesi or something? Senesi or
do you
something?
not
He's
think
quite-
the back four got a lot more protection last year than what they're getting now, right?
From the midfield, definitely. 100% from the midfield.
Yeah.
I know
That's why it's easy. Like I don't know who it was. Someone
Joe Linton's like 2 players, man. Rob rolled into one. He does a lot
of
of
course,
work.
he gives you a lot of protection.
Yeah.
You know, and I do think Dan Burn gets a lot of stick. Yeah, he's not blessed with blistering pace, but what he gives you a lot more. You know, I think he's a fantastic tackler.
Yeah, how even said that though, didn't he, in his pre-match press conference on Friday? Because one of the reporters asked him about like Dan Burn, the crowd singing Tino Livramento's name, and if Dan Burn had come under some scrutiny, and he said, "Well, look, you've got to." And how's right what he says? I know Alan thinks this is a one-off, but he was practically never present last year, wasn't he? When we finished 5th and qualified for the Champions League, got to the cup final, and I thought he was superb last year. I mean, yes. you know, his form's been a little bit indifferent this year, but he definitely had more protection on the left from
100%.
than Willock, if anything, because the ball's high up the pitch when Willock and Joe plays as well. You know, I just think that the athletic, the good ball carriers, you know, I think of course there is, but not as much as we're getting now. And I know that we've let more goals in, but I don't think it's the defence. I think it's coming from midfield. I think it's just a completely different personnel, you know, and I think that's having a massive impact. And the other thing is the keeper. I think I personally think that Pope. I think I touched on it on the last show where I said that he would have saved the fourth goal from Luton. I don't think he would have. He possibly would have done better on the first one. I think
he wouldn't have been out that far. I didn't think he wouldn't have come out that far. So that kid would have had to go in a little bit further and do a bit more work. He made his mind up from yesterday.
Yeah, the other thing he said about Livramento when he was asked the question, Howe said that he's a right back. He says he knows he can play left back, but he was signed predominantly as a right full back. So I think that's him pretty much saying, look, no, Byrne's going to be me number one left back for the rest of the season, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do we make of Lewis Hall? And that just means he's not going to get a look in, is he really?
No, I'll pay the waste of money.
Well, I
mean, you pay the loan fee though. You pay the loan fee.
Yeah, but I think the loan fee would have been fairly moderate for a player like him, and I think he has to trigger certain things to make it permanent. And obviously, it's quite clear Eddie Howe's going to make sure it's not going to become permanent. So I think a left back probably would be priority. Would then become one of the priorities.
Coming back as well, then, haven't you? Target's back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm not convinced about Target. I've not seen him have a run in the team where you could actually say he would be a regular fullback. You'd probably look at signing another fullback in the summer, I think.
He hasn't got pace either, has he? He's not blessed with pace.
I don't think he'd be making Hall's transfer permanent. Like I think that he would have been playing. No. I just think that you sign him and thought, well, he's not hitting the bar. I think he'd go back to Chelsea. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back.
Well, I think the 30 million could go better elsewhere, couldn't it? If you're going to spend 30 million on a left back when you've got 2 or 3 other ones there. I think
you only spent 30 million, Tino. So.
But you'd rather from what you're saying, Paul.
We're still talking about left back. I'm sure Jamal Lascelles can play there or someone.
Oh, there's plenty of cover, but I think, Paul, you're right. I think they'd rather use that 30 million on a centre forward or a midfielder, you know, something that makes a difference at that end of the pitch. Because we have got quite a lot of defenders. Whether they're all top class and going to be here in a year or two's time, it's unlikely. But you know, I think as you say, the money could be better off spent on other departments.
A right winger as well, I think, because I think Mickey will be away in the summer.
What would you take on that? Sorry, Len. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say the way Almiron's playing in the last few games. I don't know what's going on there. He's one of my favourite players, and he's just gone completely off the boil. You know, he would definitely become a squad player next season if he continues playing the way that he is.
Do you not think he knows Barnes is back as well?
The transfer affected him.
Maybe. I don't know. But he just does seem the type of person that would always give 100%. I'm not saying he didn't give 100%, but he's not having an impact anymore, I don't think.
Yeah. Did any of you see that rumour that was going round, or read it or whatever, about that Jim Ratcliffe wanting the taxpayers to build a new stadium, Old Trafford?
Yeah, I read something about that. Actually, they're trying to lobby the government to give money on it.
Wembley of the North.
Wembley of the North.
I mean, I ever heard anything as ridiculous as that? Taxpayers to build a new stadium.
Ridiculous.
What's it all about?
What's more ridiculous is they'll probably give them the money.
Well, essentially, West Ham's is that, isn't it? If you think about it, because that was built for the Olympics.
Yeah. So quickly, what do you think of these blue cards?
Oh, waste of time.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like,
one before they had a one in the women's game. They must be doing it in the women's game, and they sent the lass off for 10 minutes, and she come back on. She was back chatting, and then they sent her back on.
Well, the way I look at it is they can't get the yellow and red cards right, so the blue cards aren't going to make any difference.
Yeah.
And then the other question people are asking is, what happens if a goalkeeper gets a blue card?
That's
another question. Yeah.
Good point, that, Len. Good point. Yeah, it's getting ridiculous now. I mean, do you know what? Give me goal line technology, scrap VAR, just have the goal line technology, and just have it play the game as it's meant to be played.
And the offsides as well. Why don't they do what they do in the Champions League? Them lines are much better. You know, there's neat thingy with that. The lines that are drawn are crooked and everything in the Premier League. You know, it's like a 5-year-old on an Etch-a-Sketch.
It might just be your eyesight. Might just be your eyesight, Paul.
Right, well,
sorry, Rob. People saying that it's like it's all about the game evolving and making it more entertaining. I mean, I understand the last major rule change was the back pass, wasn't it? Was it the 90s or whatever? And that did make the game better. When you look at all the footage of like how much time was wasted passing back the goalkeeper, clearly understand that. But giving referees more autonomy to make another decision on top of the decisions they already have to make. Do you know what I mean? I just think it's crazy. It needs
car crash, isn't it?
Actually, you've just reminded me of a rule that came in for 2 or 3 years and now no longer exists. And this was one where if you argued about a free kick, it got advanced 10 yards or something. I don't know if anybody remembers that. So basically, if it was awarded, you complain about it, and if you complain too much, then it goes forward 10 yards. And that was, I thought that was a good rule.
Right, okay. Well, we'll move on to Bournemouth on Saturday. How do you see this one going? Alan, we'll start with you.
Bournemouth, well, Billings out suspended for starters. So that's our news. Overall, Bournemouth's only played at St James's Park 9 times. Newcastle's won 5, Bournemouth's won 2, and they've drew 2. Last season it was 1-1 with Isak's penalty in the league, but we did win the
Cup game, Carabao Cup.
The League Cup game, yeah. So I think I'm quietly confident, and I think we'll win 3-1.
3-1. Okay. Len, how do you see it going?
Well, I think on the back of some good results, not great performances, but good results and plenty of goals, I can see the same again Saturday. I think we'll definitely win. Bournemouth, I think, they had quite a good away record earlier part of the season, I think, from memory. But I don't think they've won since Boxing Day in any match, in any competition. So there's no reason why they'll come to St James's Park and win. And I'm going to agree with Alan. I'm going to go 3-1.
Excellent. Just before we move on to you, Paul, Alan, there's a question in the chat. Statman, how many games has Byrne played for Newcastle United? And that's from Brian W.
Too many.
Too many. Okay.
Come on, Statman. Come on,
Statman.
I'm saying too many. I don't want to waste your breath on that, bro.
Right, we'll quickly move on. Right.
He's only played 3 times in his proper position.
I think it's 102, but I'm just guessing off the top of my head. I could be miles out.
Nah, it's not that many. Can it be, can it?
Well, I'll check it. Keep talking.
Well, he signed in the January.
It could be, actually. Because
it's not 102.
The season before, half a season, didn't he? Then a full season.
Well, Gordon's just reached 50. And so
72.
On him.
72.
Yeah.
I was going to say 60-something, like I thought would have been around about that figure.
Right, Paul, what's your take for Bournemouth on Saturday?
Well, I hope it's not like the Luton game, because I was very confident going into that Luton game. And if you think lately, well, home form was brilliant at the start and away form was dreadful. Now it's like roles reversed. We need to get back to winning ways at St James's. And every time I've seen Bournemouth, they're hit and miss. Like they can't give teams a good game, like because I have got some good players like Solanke and that. Obviously, Billen is suspended, so that's a plus for midfield, because I think he would have bullied our midfield. But I think we'll definitely beat them. I'm going to go for 4-1. 4-1 route.
Okay, go on.
I think it'll be a tough game actually, because they've picked up, haven't they? They've had some good results. I know they've moved up the table quite a lot as well. So I think it's a dangerous game, because it's like I just hope we don't go with the same approach as we did against Luton, where because it's like a lower team in the league or whatever, you just think that's gonna, you just got to turn up and win. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. I think our teams play a different way when they come to St James's, because they know how we play. But for scoreline, I'm going to go. I think it'll be closer than 3-1. I'm going to go 2-1, and I think Dan Byrne's going to score both goals. I'm just joking, Alan. I'm going to go 2-1.
I'll go with you. 2-1.
To ask us, lads, how we're going to concede that one goal. I'll tell you how. They're going to go down the right-hand side, out and Burton, put the ball in, and then Sri Lanka will score. There you go.
Alan, this is just for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. No question about it.
Alan, right, Dan Burn, okay, right. What strengths do you think he offers at left back?
Height.
Okay.
Physicality, aye. But
Yeah.
if he gets caught, he's got no pace. He turns like a double-decker bus, and he just can't catch wingers.
Do you think he's a good tackler?
Aye, but so is Livramento. Livermento's also good defensively, and he's got that bit of pace with him.
Right.
You need to have it. We said this at the beginning of the season, and I've told it now. When we're talking about the Champions League and they've got pacey wingers, he's going to struggle. And now even lower league, like the lower teams in the league, are starting to suss that. Attack the right. Nottingham Forest, they were just going to do the right-hand side most of the game. That's all I've seen is going to do the right all the time. Attacking.
Do you think last season he looked out of place at left back?
He came with some scrutiny I did scrutinise him a bit last season, and I said he's not a natural left back.
No, just
He reckons himself that he said that at the season, pre-season. Oh, I'm a left back. No, you're not. You're left centre back, mate.
Well, look, for me, right, I don't know about how you guys feel, but since Dan Burn joined the club, I think he's been fantastic. I mean, like, absolutely fantastic for him. You know?
I'm not going to...
Yeah.
It's been a good signing, a great signing, right? I'm not going to dispute the fact of that. He shows passion for the club. But now, I'm just saying, he's been found out, right? And we need to change it. Because
I that's a bit harsh, Alan.
Back position.
The thing is, Rob, though, if we're gonna move on and see his
I know.
if we're gonna move on, you will have to ditch him eventually. Left
We've
back.
got to ditch the likes of him. When at the minute, Richie's got a gun, Dummett's got a gun. You know, you got to look at the cells will probably have the gun because you have to upgrade that way. You know, so you've got to get rid of these players to upgrade, like Paul says.
Yeah, but they'll not get rid of Dan. You'll not get rid of Dan Burn, right? Because he can cover. If he's not going to start, like you don't want him to start, he's going to be great cover for centre half for a year or two, and great cover for left.
I'm not saying get rid of them, but I wouldn't. If we're going to upgrade, we need a proper left back in and
proper.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that he's one of the players I would say there's an upgrade on in that team. But I agree with Len also that. I don't think he'd be getting shot of them. I think he'd be staying
I
around
won't
with
get
them.
rid of him just for the dressing room. He likes players like that around the place, doesn't he?
I mean, let's
He's got a job on the bench. He can't do a job when injuries are there. But like I said the other week, it just seemed the bugbear I've got is he's back in that team after the Livramento.
He did bring him back too early. Like he definitely brought him back too early. And for
Brought him back too early.
that,
But I know a lot of people have said, like, oh, he's got his favourites. Eddie Howe's got his favourites. Every single manager's got their favourites. They've got these 4, 5, 6 blue chip players that they rely on, and they'll get picked whether they're in form or not. And that's happened with every single manager of every single club. They've got players they can rely on, and they'll pick them even if they're not quite fit because they know they're going to go and do a great job. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
it's bad enough playing Dan Burn as a fit left back against Forest, but if you play him as a unfit left back against Forest, in the first game he played, he got destroyed.
I agree.
That's what cost with the game there.
Yeah, he came back too early for that one, but I'm just saying in general, he's always going to, and Miggy's another one, I suppose, even though he's off the ball. Miggy's another one you'll always pick because you know what you're going to get from them, so some of these players you have to tinker around with them, for one reason or another, but there is quite a number of players in that team that will get picked, providing they're fit, regardless of what their previous performance was. And I don't necessarily think that's right, but that's what a lot of managers do. And we haven't had the choice to rotate the team because of the injuries up until recently.
Divinger is wrong. It's the same with Miggy. You always get way out of Miggy. I'm not going to fault with that. The problem with Miggy is his finishing's not very good, and we had probably the similar thing with Maxi, because he had all the trickery, the pace, and everything, but his finishing wasn't.
I'm not sure about his finishing, Alan. His final ball's pretty poor, and he never uses his right foot.
That's what I'm saying.
He has done some good finishes with his left foot.
he does carbon copy at a time. He'll cut in and try and bend it in.
If you think,
how many times does he do that a game?
If you think of this though, like there definitely is an upgrade on Dan. But in fact, the only players I would say there's not an upgrade on in this team, I would say Botman, I would say Bruno, I would say Joe Linton, Gordon, and Isak. I think that spine of the team. I think you could argue everywhere else you need better players in if you want to push on. I think that spine there is where we want to be. You know, they're the class of players that you would like to have, and you know if they're going to kick you on to the next level. But the other side of that as well, you know, and you're right, managers do operate with loyalty. Then I think that that's apparent in every manager. If they'll take players with them or whatever. But don't forget, these lads are. What they done last season was unbelievable, fantastic achievements. And I read this morning we're only 5 points off from where we were at this stage of last season in terms of games played. So if you think, and you've got people like sort of saying, well, it's been a bad season. I mean, last season. And here's another interesting point. I said this on the bus yesterday. I think the seasons are reversed. I think that would be buzzing if we were having a season and this season, last season. Do you know what I mean? And then this season was last season. Do you know what I mean? We're kicking on. It's just obviously it's slightly different. So I mean, I've always said this. It's like I know I've said before in terms of the manager and the players. For me, they all get a free shot this season. It's as simple as that. I understand next season it's going to be a little bit different because expectations will have grown and stuff like that. But I'm never going to be critical of players, like particularly ones that have done really, really well. I agree. There's upgrades on these players. There's an upgrade on Burn. But in terms of criticism, and people pay the money, and that's part and parcel of being a fan. But singing Tino's name to get him on last week,
bad crack.
It's rubbish.
It's bad crack. Like.
Don't think we're going to have the injuries like we'll have this season, next season. We can't possibly. This has been a freak.
Hopefully not. Dear me.
But you've got Tonali back as well.
We've seen this in the documentary, didn't we? When they were trying to put the Champions League qualifying as Champions League, and they went, we haven't got the money because of FFP to invest to get that big squad to get through the season. And I always said there's a tail off when you've got European, like the Champions League football. And the squad we had, we can't blame them. They've been stretched. We've done well in the Champions League. We can, this season, that's one of the highlights. We've done well. We got that out of the group stage. We beat PSG, and teams like that. And we still got the FA Cup. So all's not lost. It's just, you just see that ball every time, going do that right flank, and you're just thinking, what do you need to do? Just change it, man, please. And then when Trippier, and you're trying to put Trippier's cock-ups and all that, I give Trippier freaking criticism forward. So
the thing about Trippier's cock-ups,
do you think I want Tino's name shouted? No, I didn't. I think that's wrong.
The thing about Trippier's cock-ups for me were worse than anything that Dan Burn might have done. Dan Burn was just literally a lack of pace, and maybe his positioning wasn't quite right. Trippier was actually passing it to the opposition 3 times, from what I remember.
With Trippier at the time, there was a lot of things going on with that. But he had to leave the England squad and stuff like that. I think there was a lot of things.
But his mistakes were worse, and he's not getting the stick of what Dan Burn is.
Alan, just interesting though, right, on Burn. I know we're probably exhausted talking about him, but other than the penalty that he gave away, has he against Luton? Has there been any other glaring sort of errors from him, or what? Do you know what I mean? Where it's like,
I'm not saying errors. It's just his lack of pace and he's getting turned. That's all I'm saying. If we've got pacey wingers. We've got Gordon, we've got Barnes, we've got pacey wingers, right? Gordon turns Burn in a heartbeat.
I don't think he's slow. I don't think Dan Burn's slow. I think he's deceiving because he's so big and he looks gangly and he looks slow. I mean, I don't think he's any slower than Botman or Shea. I don't think he's slow, I just think that, again, and I get what you're saying, totally understand, because teams are talking down the right, absolutely, but don't forget they're talking us down the right because they know Joe Linton's missing as well, and they know that's, you know what I mean, it's like an easier approach to do it, so, but, take your opinion on board, but I just think we know he's going to play, we know that how fancy's in, he's going to be the left back at the end of the season, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All I'll just say is we need to change it up. That's it. You spent £30 million on Tino Livramento. You just need to change it up. That's all.
Listen, it's all about opinions. Everyone's got their opinion, their reasons. It's that's what makes these shows tick, isn't it? Different opinions and what have you. Right, lads. Well, been great having you on, and he's all up for next Sunday. Do the Bournemouth review. Yeah.
Yeah.
All good.
It'll be the Dan Bill review probably by the time.
I think you're going to have nightmares. You really are. Paul, we'll get a big Dan Burn poster and we'll take it around Ireland's. Put it on his wall.
There's no room because I've got a big one of Tino Livramento on me wall.
Anyway, right. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, lads, and I'll see you next week. Okay?
Yes, boys.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.